Sick. All right. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Wobbles. We have the same first name, which is kind of cool.
Really? He name's Austin?
Mr.
Oh, Mister, yeah. I think it's hard to be an EDM with a Mister in the first name, you know?
Right.
People think it's a joke, but it's also like, no, we're serious men.
Yeah.
You know?
Dead set.
They don't understand it.
Yeah.
They hate what they can't understand.
Where did your name come from? I got mine just because like a bunch of friends of mine were just calling me Mr. Bill already, and then I didn't
Are you
even.
Bill?
Yeah, my name's just Bill.
Oh, fuck.
And so I was just like, yeah, Mr. Bill, whatever, that works. And that was like before I knew about this like Saturday Night Live character, which just did not make it to Australia at all. So I had no idea about the like claymation dude. And now everyone thinks that I got it from that, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But yeah, where did Mr. Wobbles come from?
Honestly, I used to be, you remember, I don't know if producers ever did this, but beatboxers used to go on like Ventrilo all the time. And
Ventrilo. What was that?
Ventrilo is kind of like Discord.
Yeah, right.
It's like old school Discord. And there used to be this beatboxing Ventrilo that I used to go into. And I was learning this bass called the wob bass, where you go like, you go, wah, 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 wah. And I was learning how to do that. And this guy came in one day and was like, you're always doing, you're like Mr. Wobbles. That's all you ever do. And that guy turned out to be like the world champ for 3 years. His name is Al M. So I just kind of was like, that's sick that he talked to me. I was like 15, you know, I was like, whoa. Yeah. So then I took that name, and then every time I try to change it, it feels like it's too, I'm like a goofy character as a person. So it kind of just works, you know, like I feel like Mr. Wall, like the first manager that ever talked to me in the EDM scene when I started like kind of doing well on social media was like, I think you should just be named. He was from LA guy, of course. I think you should just be Wobbles, honestly. You know, I think Mr. is just like, I just don't think it like works. I'm like, so I'm going to get rid of 15 years of metadata because you don't like my Mr. in my name. I'm good on that, brother.
Right. Are you familiar with the Ganja White Knight universe? They have
I am. And you
Mr.
know what?
Wobble.
I had that first. I don't mind that he has. I am familiar with Ganja White Knight universe. I don't mind. I think it's Mr. Wobble and I'm Mr. Wobbles.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So that's the difference. And you know, if they ever want me to come and dress up like that and just randomly be like, it's actually, you know, I'll do it. But yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. My SEO is like paraplegic cats, the Ganja White Knight character, and then me. And it just, we're fighting for the top spot on Google all at the same time.
Yeah, I've seen the paraplegic cat, Mr. Wobbles too. It's like a super wobbly cat. And
yeah, there's a lot of them. I don't know. Everyone who has a paraplegic cat, they're like, let's name it after the YouTuber and Ganja White Knight character. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Why not? It's pretty wobbly.
This is true.
Cool. So I guess like you're a super entertaining dude. I was watching your videos in leading up to this podcast, and I already knew about you because I saw you comment on like some of my YouTube videos a long time ago.
I'm actually top comment on one of
your...
yeah.
And I saw... I saw this comment of yours, and there was like a ton of people going like, no way, Mr. Wobbles is here. And I was like, who is this guy? And I clicked on it, and I was like, oh shit, you got like 1 million YouTube subs. This dude's big.
Yeah.
So I was already like familiar with you as like an entity, but I didn't really dig into your stuff until like the last week or two. And yeah, your stuff is awesome. I feel like I've seen some people doing this on Instagram, like that Honeycomb dude, and there's a couple other people who like will go on Omegle and then like take the input from Omegle and remix it. It's super cool. Were you an entertainer that learned music, you think, or a musician that learned entertainment?
I think the honest truth is I always wanted to be a producer and a DJ, but when I was in like high school and college, I was like quite poor. So I couldn't afford, I didn't have a MacBook until like I was like 21, and I didn't have like a gaming PC until I was like 23. So I learned how to beatbox first, and I would consider that like I was like a musician, and I was playing guitar and all that stuff, and I wanted to produce, but beatboxing was my easiest outlet to like be a musician. And beatboxing is kind of funny. So I think I'm a musician who turned into an entertainer, because beatboxing was, I would street perform, and I was West Coast champ, and I was kind of like the leader of the community I was in. And I would just tend to like always turn it into a show, Guys, who do you want, street performing, be like, guys, who do you think's going to win the beatbox battle? Gather around. When we get 20 people around, we'll start beatbox. But, just kind of like, I had a whole show for street performing, and I would bring people, and we'd do like a touring beatbox troupe. And like literally, if you watch my channel or know anything about me, it's like all these, my skill set has just been ascertained over like just consistent. I have like a urge to always get better. And I also want to do it live, like I'm obsessed with the live element, and beatboxing is still like the fundamental root of a lot of what I do.
What is it about the live element that you like so much? Because I'm kind of in the opposite camp. Like, I also started as musician, and then had to try really hard to learn how to be entertaining, because I'm just like not an entertaining dude. I'm just like, if I'm on stage performing, I'm just like behind a laptop or CDJs, and I'm not like, getting on the table, and I never get on the mic ever. And so, yeah, it's been really hard for me to figure out how to keep people entertained at shows. And it turned out the missing component was just like super synced visuals.
Yeah, I've watched some of your VJ stuff. You're very good at what you do, man.
Yeah, my strat is just put all the energy in the studio, because that's where I'm good at. So I just flex there, and then when I go to play live, I'm just like, look at this shit, and don't really
like, I don't even need to fucking talk, guys. Just
exactly.
I don't know, dude. I almost think I'm the opposite, where like sometimes my shit might not be good, but I'm just so entertaining that people are like, this is great. What's going on?
There is something to be said for that. Like, there's a lot of people out there who, not the best DJs, not the best musicians, or not the best producers or whatever, but they're so fucking entertaining to watch that it makes up for all of it. And,
I think with live music, I'm obsessed with it because I just have severe ADHD and probably a slight amount of autism. And because of that, I don't like I really dislike feeling like I'm just doing nothing. And as much as I love DJing, I can do it. I've only ever used controllers, so touching a fucking CDJ seems like insane to me, and I'm gonna have to get over that fear. But I do feel like live music is just something that's, number one, like not in the EDM scene at all. Like it's not present enough. And I think live music is kind of like where I started feeling music the most. Like, I used to go to fucking like bluegrass festivals and, a bunch of stuff like that, where it was based around like entertaining, like live performance. And I feel like EDM has this lack of, like, the big things you see in EDM are people just doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like jumping.
That's a classic. The gun fingers.
Yeah. And it's, to me, it just seems like a bunch of people who are really good at producing that are just like showing off their thing. And
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
How good they are at serum, and that's fine. I don't judge it, but I'm also like, dude, I like it when shit's gritty and like real, and I'm obsessed with that feeling. Like, whenever I see anybody that has like a live element, I remember that 10 times more than somebody who has like good visuals or this or that, just because it's no, and I'm not trying to diss. It's just more like, I care more about, like, a lot of people in EDM now care more about the production than the music, in my opinion. Like, I know people that fucking throw shows and they have pictures of the speakers as on the flyer instead of like art,
Yeah, totally.
Like, people care so much more about, like, we have Hennies, or there's bass bosses at this one, or, like, there's going to be lasers. It's like, to me, it feels like popcorn. And I feel like that's mean, but whenever I DJ, I get like this disassociation to it, where I'm like, dude, I could sit here and just like, and when you have like I've created such a crazy setup for myself that it's really hard for me to like relate and want to not use it. So like I'm trying to join your camp right now, where I am learning how to produce, and I'm like taking lessons, and I have 10 lessons with Sully, and I have lessons with fucking like everyone that I can get them from, just because I'm like, I feel like I'm 7 years behind on Serum, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think being super good at Serum is like the most important thing, or having super good visuals. I think it's like a combination of all the things, like having really good sound, really good video, really well produced songs, all of that, like, and a crowd of people who are really receptive to it, obviously, is super important. And I think all of that stuff in combination creates this context in where the sum of its parts become a lot more impressive than any of the one things together. But I think the reason why the live element isn't so prevalent in EDM is just because there really is no good way to go from having a perfectly produced tune to a live setup in which you can play that tune in a way that retains the amount of detail and fidelity that it originally had. And so the aspect of playing it would have to be so entertaining to deal with that cost of quality degradation. But in your case, and a lot of like Iodo's case, and I'm not super familiar with Honeycomb, but I assume their case too, it's like the way that you make music in the first place is you've created this setup in which to sort of jam and write, kind of like Beardy Man as well. And so in that sense, it totally makes sense to play it live because that's how you write it. But if you write all your music in the box, like I do, it's like you have all these tiny edits and clips everywhere and just like tons of detail that you spent, hours lamenting over. It's really hard to take that session of like, a couple of hundred just, strewn tracks and turn it into something that's actually live playable. Like you can do a few things. You can render it all into stems, and then you can put the stems in a session, and then you can do effects on some of the stems. But in my experience doing that, it always just makes the song worse, and you're still just on stage with some little knobs. So you, for all intents and purposes, the crowd think that you're doing the exact same thing that you were doing if you had not done that.
I think it's all about presentation, right? It's like how you got to make it seem like it's live.
Well, I don't even try to make it seem like it's live anymore. I just like put all my work in the studio and accept the fact that I'm just going to press play like 40 times in a set, once for each tune or whatever. And that's going to play a song and a video. And hopefully the amount of work that I've put into that is enough to entertain people on its own without myself having to be super entertaining. But I think if you're naturally entertaining and you also have put tons of effort into getting good at like actually playing music and doing like real music shit, then yeah, I think that's totally the way that it should stay. Like Iodo, for example, I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're like a live jam band. It's Jason Hahn and Michael Travis from the String Cheese Incident.
Okay.
And they've created this like whole big setup with MIDI fighters, and they have live instruments and do live looping and all this kind of stuff. And that's just how they make their music in the first place. They don't make it by sitting down at a computer. They make it via this live setup that they've made. And for that, I think, yeah, it makes total sense to keep it that way. It makes no sense to like pre-play all that stuff and then record it into a session and go and just press play on the tracks. But it does come at a cost of like how good it can sound. Like for instance, to get your stuff to like maximum loudness, pretty much everything has to be like directly on, and there has to be like a perfect amount of space between everything. So,
with my setup, I feel like I'm not to self-fillet, but I feel like with my setup, I've created a lot of fail safes that allow me to like create kind of freely, and then also try to maintain like -7 and -5 LUFS. My whole goal is to like be loud in my setup, and it's like breathes like a produced song. Like at every step of the way, there's limiters that activate based on certain, things happening. I have CliffX like just fucking in every little section of my setup, where like the biggest issue with loopers when they start getting loud is you start getting like distortion no matter what. That's why having dynamic EQs on every single like step of the way allows you to like, sidechain certain things and allows your setup to like not it like interacts in a way where how a song should be, where like if you want your vocals to cut to a mix, you cut like 3 to 5, down a little bit, 3 to 5,000, and you do like a little high shelf so that your vocal like highs can come through. And cutting through bass music, like having a voice cut through like, like a it's a difficult thing. And I think that with me, like I look at a lot of people who tried it. Like, I think Justice, even though I don't really consider how they do stuff live, like they do it live anymore. It's kind of just like the presentation of being live is sick. But I saw Disclosure live. They did their full live set. I saw them like 2 years ago at Primavera, and that was sick as hell. Like, I think that when you do it right, it's an amazing, like I feel like how I am always going to produce music is this idea of like, I want like an orchestra to play with me one day. Right. If I'm making a song, I want it, not that I want to play it right now, but I want it one day, like, to have, an album where I'm able to like really do that live with like a beautiful orchestra or like a band or something like that. Like, I want eventually, as gear continues to develop and people like me come through the woodworks, or like they learn certain things about how to make things work with Ableton that no one, like, hasn't been really done before. You're going to start getting more unique ways to approach that detail and fidelity that I don't think occurs naturally right now within like loop station environments, or a lot of people who do loop station environments or like, do looping stuff. They end up just doing the Phrygian scale constantly. And like, they start sounding like a jam band, and I think that's a big issue where like what I've learned from production is, or just taking lessons, is that most of this shit is pretty easy. Like, in a lot of ways, it's just like layering, like proper layering. Most people don't even fucking EQ their shit. Like, most people that I've met that are like putting out good stuff and doing red rocks and doing stuff like that, they'll show me their stuff and they're like, yeah, so I took a gunshot and I found a transient in it and I put it over the snare, and then I like took G clip and put it on the snare bus. No EQ, just nothing. Like, they don't give a shit, dude. Like, it's almost relieving to realize how it's simple, but it's like simple fine detail is what matters. So I do agree with you where sometimes it's like, I've only done maybe 2 or 3 like real live shows with my setup, and it's still continuing to get tested. But how I've envisioned what I can do is almost you ever watch that EPROM video where he does like, it's the DJ Mix Mag video where DJ
Tech Tools?
Yeah, DJ Tech Tools video where he's showing his live set, and he has like everything on a line and then all his stems left, right? And I think that's one of the coolest ways to like DJ, in my opinion. He just has a delay and then a reverb, and he just fucks around with it, and it makes every set unique. For me, what I want to do is I need to like get discography. Like, my whole goal right now is just to get songs, because I think the biggest issue is someone who blows up on Omegle or does has like a big following, is that I don't have a lot of music out. So I don't have a lot of product. I can fucking make good music on, good enough music on the fly, but I need to like prove that I can make good music. And I have a lot of like old songs that did really well that are like lo-fi, but now I got to kind of start doing like more EDM stuff. So that's kind of been my main focus, but then I'll use those songs as anchor points within a setup. And I want to DJ, like, how I want to eventually do this is DJ in like in a scale idea, like scale aware DJing, where I'm going to be like, okay, the song's in D minor. So I'm going to use like, if I'm in D minor, then I could go to F major. And then if I'm in F major, I could borrow a chord from E minor and get to this next, like do stuff like that, where I would have anchor points that are my songs and stems of my songs, and then go to each one and still have these high fidelity, have the drums. Maybe I just beatbox for this one. Maybe I just like use my talk box for one of them, and I take out certain parts of the song to perform live, and then have like hang points where I could jam into a different key, into a different stem, into a different BPM, which is going to be extremely difficult to set up and make it like seamless. But when I do get there, I think it's going to be really unique. And that's kind of like, those are my plans. Like, do music, make enough music so I can have anchor points, do anchor points, have like that live setup, and then be able to like take someone's voice, and I can pitch anybody like to whatever key I want. Like if I took your voice right now, I could pitch you into like A major. So then I could like put you in A major, have you as a just like background ambiance, and then bring you in with my set, like shit like that. That's how I think. That's how, for me, that would be the most entertaining way to present music, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think
also when you're doing it that way, the data that you're outputting is so rich. Like there's so much MIDI data being sent on the way in that you could also theoretically take that data, hook it into something like Touch Designer or Resolume, and have fully synced visuals based on your playing as well, which would be sick.
that's what I wanted. I know nothing about visuals, but I want to do that one day. I really want to be able to take, like if I take someone's sample on this, you know, and I just was like, then it would just instantly be the video data of them. And then I like, you know, I'd be like, like it would be their face. And then you have you ever used NVIDIA Broadcast?
No.
So NVIDIA Broadcast has this really cool function it has like extremely strong GPU based background removal. So my whole idea would be like, create a system that's PC based, that would be a visual like response system that has Resolume on it, and it would be like a rig specifically for that. And if I went then that would start looping on a screen with a green screen in Resolume, immediately taking like the video of the person on a feed, and then like just like do fucked up visuals of people that match the loop. And when I loop it like responds to that, you know. And I am sending so much MIDI data that I could do cool stuff with that. It's just like, I don't know. That's like one of those things that if I get bigger and I have a manager and I start garnering like a team, I know that's one of those things that I'm definitely going to like offset and just be like, I'll find someone who can help me do it. Cause I'm not going to learn that. I can't. I'm so overwhelmed by the amount of stuff I already kind of have. Like I spent 10 hours on sound design for my system yesterday, and I'm still like not happy with what I did, you know. Trying to make live basses that like cut and don't gain is very difficult. I'm starting to get into like having a top layer, having a bottom layer, and having a mid layer within Ableton for my live basses, and it's just like the amount of work you have to do to make sure that, you know, if you go up, your sub gets pushed down, so it's not peaking against where the mid range sits. It's just like all these things, and then you create fail safes within by using like Waves, Bass Rider, and a bunch of different stuff to like maintain a pitch that's like always going to be present but never distorting against your beat. It's just like that's not something I ever expected to do, but I have to do that. So then learning Resolume would be hell.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think you mentioned Disclosure Live and how you really enjoyed that. So they're another example of people who play the parts in when they actually write the music. Like I've watched a bunch of their streams before, and I can't remember which one it is. Maybe both of them play keys, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll record this in," and he like plays it in live and all this kind of stuff. So I think to take that setup live and then just pull those parts out and just replay them again on the spot makes a lot of sense. But for a lot of DJs or producers like myself, where we really don't play an instrument, I mean, I do play guitar, but not these days really. But when I'm actually writing my music, I'm just never playing anything, and it's all keyboard and mouse. I don't even have a MIDI controller that I use.
Why is that? Do you not? Do you find it easier? Like, do you know, like for me, I can't write a song if I'm not like sitting there like I need a noodle in order to find stuff, you know? So like you're just able to go in like in a MIDI roll and just cook like.
Well, it's more like I have kind of like an iterative process where I'll make something, and it can be maybe I draw it in with a mouse and keyboard, or maybe I generate the MIDI somehow using some tool or something, and then I destroy that a few times. Like I'll make a thing, completely destroy it and resample it, and then I'll make another thing out of that, and then I'll destroy that and resample it, and then that turns into another thing, and it's like this constant process of destroying something to turn it into something else. And I feel like that's how I kind of get any grit into my music. It's like the first idea I usually come up with is too like sweet and normal.
So you're like an amoeba.
Yeah, exactly.
You just like keep doing that
Mm.
and separating and creating new things out of the same thing,
Yeah,
pretty much.
exactly. And to do something like that live is kind of tough because it requires you having to do one thing to destroy it to create another thing out of that destroyed thing. But I guess you kind of do that in the sense of like you take something that was never necessarily supposed to be music in the first place and immediately sample it. So that's
Yeah.
definitely a thing. It's kind of similar to that idea, I guess.
Yeah, for me, I mean, similarly, I feel like how I do vocal chops, it's super basic, but it also just helps me to like I have, when I approach music, especially in like the quick Omegle environment, I'll have like a BPM in my ear, and then I'll have the vocal chops and they're unquantized, and then I'll throw those in. And usually, something I'd love to learn more about is just like how could I do live effects that are constantly changing, almost like chaos effects that
Oh, you should use Infiltrator.
I do.
Infiltrator 2. Yeah.
I have Infiltrator on almost every line of my setup, but even the problem with Infiltrator is that I feel like the effects are either like too pronounced for live use, like they're too chaotic, or
Mm.
they're like not synced well enough in a live setting where they there's chances where they can sound weird. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
in a production environment, they work great, but in a live environment, it's like really hit or miss, and that's what I'm finding with a lot of stuff. A lot of the best things I found are like the ahi gate. Like
Mm.
who would have ever thought the ahi transgate would be really good? But then all of a sudden, you put the ahi transgate on random stuff, and it just like it like cleans it up immediately. It's because it's within Ableton, so there's no like it's weird how things are. It's really interesting how plugins work when you're not producing with them and you're using them in a live environment. And a lot of these
Mm.
plugins aren't meant to be used as like a live, like they're not meant to be like, hey, this is they're not thinking of live musicians when
Yeah,
they
yeah.
make these things. you know
Mm.
I use Whiter on fucking everything, low-key. I don't know if you've ever used that. That's my,
Yeah, the polyverse one.
yeah, creating like false loudness in a loop setup is super important as well, or like perceived loudness. And I don't know. I feel like everyone has a different way of production, and there's no real wrong or right way to do it. And just because I don't feel like super, just because I feel disassociated, like I disassociate when I like DJ, doesn't mean that it's to put down anyone else. It just feels like I just like to see, like I like to like be present with my music.
Mm.
And some people are present with their music in other places. For me, it's like being able to do it live is just fucking sick. And eventually, I really want to push the idea of like making music with a crowd and like, oh, anyone here rap?
Oh yeah, like Jacob Collier or whatever, where he
I
like
mean, I'm
plays
not.
the crowd like a fucking 808 or something.
Yeah. Can everyone go? Oh. So I
True.
mean, I'll see where I get with that. But I think I consistently find that EDM doesn't know how to place someone who does everything live.
Mm. And why is it that you feel like you need to make more EDM stuff? Like why don't you just kind of do whatever you feel like?
When I made Mr. Wobbles, I wanted to be in EDM. I wanted to DJ. I wanted to do that stuff, and I like love festivals, and I love like the scene of EDM, and I've always been like that's what I listen to. I mean, I could probably make a great fucking folk album,
Mm.
but I'm not gonna like. I won't feel it like the same. Like it's not like like some of my biggest influences aren't like exactly super EDM-y, but they still like dip their toe in the poison of it. Like Weevil is probably my
Mm.
favorite band of all time. Like Caribou, I fucking love Caribou. Like Tycho, like Shlomo. Uh, I mean, you like I feel like you dip your toe. You're not like completely EDM-y. Like you have a lot of like ambient, like lo-fi. Like Supertask is the same thing where you guys like
Mm.
kind of have like pretty music,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's not like listen to my serum patch.
Yeah, true.
My drums are basic and my
I
serum
think
patch is sick.
it's cool when you can do both though, when you can have like sick sound design and it's like emotionally appealing and has like all of these kind of different values in a single song. I feel like that's always my goal, is like trying to get all of the cool things into one song, which is always tough without it sounding super disjointed.
Yeah, so you want to make music that you like feel present with, and that you like. For me, the best music has emotion, and the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
music is stuff
totally.
like EDM is popcorn. You know, like a lot of EDM now, it's like it's popular for 2 months and then it's gone, and no one gives a fuck about it anymore because it sounds dated. It's exactly like beatboxing. Like beatboxing, which is going to be a really weird comparison, but beatboxing had the issue of, you know, everyone was doing for a year, and then the next year everyone's like, oh, he's old school, that's dated, you know. So then you have to consistently like create a different sound palette in order to like entertain the viewers or the listeners.
What's the current sound palette in
Oh
beatboxing?
dude, I don't even, it's like people are doing a lot of like harmonic, like like they're doing like they push in to like the train whistle, which is I can't even do it. Like I'm so disconnected with where beatboxing's gone. But like when I was beatboxing, a lot of it was like just lip rolls.
Ring mod sub.
Yeah, ring mod sub.
Yeah.
Everyone was really into that. Holy shit. But now like the person who was really good at it, you know, 5 years ago, that it sounds dated to people. And what's crazy is like I feel like EDM is the same way, where a lot of it, like the music doesn't have a lot of staying power. And that's an issue that I've always wanted to approach. And I think like how Supertask, how a lot of these people that make like music that has depth and emotion, that's the music that people go back and listen to, you know, 10 years later, in my
I feel
opinion.
like what happens is when there's a genre trend, that trend usually comes about because there's one song that gets so fucking big, or like one album that gets so big that everyone's like, okay, there's like a big reward for doing this thing now. And so let me try to do this thing to capitalize on this reward. And they probably also enjoy it to some degree, otherwise they probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I think a lot of it comes from like capitalistic reward from somebody going like, oh, this new Humdy song is like getting so big, it's played at all the festivals, let me try to also make my iteration of it. And then you get like this trickle down effect of all these like watered down versions of it. And then another trend comes around because another thing, people get super sick of that, and then somebody does something fresh in a really cool way, and then you get that trickle down effect again. And I think the ones that have the staying power is like the first one that like created that trend in the first place. That kind of stays, but all the rest of the shit kind of falls off. And then that next trend has like another big tune that starts that trend, and or an album or whatever, and that one stays, but most of the other ones kind of fall off for sure.
But all those have shelf lives. That's the other thing. It's like,
I mean, music in general kind of does. I think.
But then you look at like how I view music is like, you look at like what makes a song timeless. What makes a song like, you know, what makes a song something you can listen, like no one listens to Led Zeppelin and they're like, fuck, this shit is like dated. like no one.
Yeah, I
it
kinda
sounds
do
good.
sometimes.
You do.
I mean,
You're
yeah,
like,
sometimes like people, I've had people try to like gas me up before on like old classical music and stuff like that, and I'll listen to it and be like, I don't really get it. I mean, some of it, like some of the great stuff, I really do, but again, I think it has so much to do with context. It's like if I listen to Led Zeppelin right after I listen to Skrillex's new album, I'm probably going to be like, yeah, this is not really the vibe I'm on right now, and this sounds kind of dated. But
Yeah.
if I saw Led Zeppelin at a Led Zeppelin show in whatever the 60s or 70s, and I was, you know, on a ton of acid or whatever, and at that time there was no EDM, like if I think it's all about context, right? Like for example, you said you like festivals a lot. What is it you like about festivals?
I mean, I feel like I could just tell you a story about a festival that I went to that it's like my favorite. I really love human interaction. I'm obsessed with like people being goofy and people like being out of their comfort zone and just like doing weird shit that's kind of funny. Like I'm obsessed with people, which is like a lot of my content is just based around how much I love people. Like I just interact with other humans and I make content out of it, and music seems to be the easiest way to get that person to like let that defense down, you know? One time I was at a festival, it was me and Honeycomb. We were walking around and this guy came up and his name was Justin Diamond. and he was like wearing a fucking like bucket hat, and he had like, you know, those things where it's like this, it's like one of those massage things, like
Like a
it's like
Theragun?
it's like two S's on it. It's like a stick and one and a half
to
S.
like to get you back.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was walking around and he was like, "You want to see a trick?" Like, what? He was like, "I'm a massage specialist and this is my tool." And he started like massaging us, and then he like gave us a card that said Justin Diamond massage guy, and there was no phone number. And then he walked away. And I thought that was it's just like everyone has their fucking bits at festivals. Like everyone's just doing bits. I think that's amazing. It's like an adult playground where everyone's like, I'm going to do the funniest thing I can think of, and we're just going to roll with it. And then we're going to do a bunch of drugs while we do it. And we're just going to see what happens. We're going to be goofy. And I love that energy. I think it's something, it's like adult play. And I think adults, we don't get to play a lot, you know, like our entire childhood is spent like doing stuff for fun, you know, and then we get to adults and it's like spend money for fun, and you can only have fun, you know, at this event, and you can only do this here. And it's like there people will be like, I have a napkin, what can I make funny about this napkin with other people? And then they'll like figure out like, I'm going to give you a piece of this napkin. It was my grandma's napkin. It's the best napkin I've ever had. If you lose this napkin, bad things will happen. And then they'll give you a funny look and run away. It's like, that's fucking awesome. You know, just a bunch of people. I love that about festivals. And I really want to take my idea of like sampling people and bringing people into like the music as a part of festivals. And I've always realized, like, I think why, you know, to preface, like to go back to the question of why do I want to do EDM is like, I think the idea of doing skim sets is really fun. Like being able to go to a festival and do like an activation for a brand, or maybe getting a side stage at a festival where I'm like, hey, anybody who's a live producer, like is a DJ that's on this festival that wants to do like a live version of what they do, come to my live stage. You know, fuck it. Like I'll have a small stage at Electric Forest that's what we do, or this or that. You know, Mr. Wobbles and friends. I don't even know. I don't really, that's like my idea. But like being able to do both my live set, but then like having DJ sets on smaller stages and still keeping a live element, which I can always do, which is like beatboxing, and then also like talk box in my sets, you know? So having those two things would be sick.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that would be sick. How much gear reliably would you need to travel this setup?
So this setup is literally a piano, it's 2 check bags.
Okay, that's not too bad at all. But
No.
like, yeah, if you were saying earlier, like you wanted to have a separate PC for visuals and stuff like that.
It'll
Like,
just be another rack.
yeah, or like just a laptop even, I guess. Yeah, I run my shit off just a 4090 laptop PC thing. I run just Ableton and Resolume off the same computer and just run visuals from stage. So it's pretty travelable. But I have done this live stuff in the past. Like I've done one of those DJ Tech Tools videos, like EPROM, for example, showing like this really complicated setup I made with MIDI fighters and all this shit. And I've never found a way that it adds something to the set, because I'm just always on stage with my controller anyway, and so regardless of whether or not I'm doing a million things a second or 0 things, it looks the exact same from the audience's perspective. I think I would need like a MIDI fighter that's huge and just like punch it with boxing gloves or something, so it's like very obvious.
Sock 'em bop-ems, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So that it's super obvious that when I hit this thing, a sound happens or whatever. Are you familiar with ankle pants?
Ankle pants?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Is that an artist?
Yes, I think you would like it. It's both silly and extremely technically impressive, and it's like live performance art meets EDM. I think you would like it.
Okay. I mean, I would probably love that. I'm very yeah, like I think what happens with a lot of producers who try to go live, probably similar to how you feel, it's like they end up just bringing a controller and knobs. You know,
yeah.
and knobs, I'm like a big fucking knob hater, bro. Like I think knobs are the most unintuitive way to like control and modulate things, because it's not like a press, you know. You're not like with a fader you can like go up and you can go down, and it's like a motion of feeling that's like.
Isn't a knob just like a circular fader though?
I feel like a knob is less like intuitive. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, like something a lot of people want me to do when I do my setup, or like a lot of suggestions I've gotten are like, you should change the LFO rate with a knob. And I'm like, that's the worst feeling ever. Like if you're sitting there trying to do an LFO, it's very unintuitive as like a piano player to like play it like that. So for me, like what I've done is I'll create entire racks that are like, so I do like sustains, and then I'll do like, you know, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, and like, and it just makes it more like I'm playing it, you know.
And you've got, it looks like different instruments on different octaves of the keyboard too.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm learning and getting better at EDM is like I need to know sound design in order for my setup to be fucking crazy, right? Like just even making a few of my last songs, it's like I learned about layering. So when I first started doing it, when I first started doing all this, it was presets and prayer. Like I was just like, please, Avant, give me the best Wook presets you can. You know, and now I'm like, I kind of understand what I'm doing. I create entire racks now that are just based on like artists I like and lessons I've taken from. So like right now I have like Blurred Vision, Nautica, Daily Bread, and then like one of my own. And then I'm taking lessons with Soli, so I'll start doing Soli racks. But like this is
Soli's a fucking sound design god.
Bro, he's amazing. But like I have like the Blurred Vision one, which is like, just like it feels so much nicer to do that than to like sit there with a knob and be like I don't know. And I feel like that, like the action of physically doing it is a lot more presentable to an audience. You know,
if you could have gone back to that part you just played, the if you thought about that for an hour, would you have changed that flow, or would you have kept that flow the exact same?
No, I love that flow.
You would have kept it the same? Okay.
I mean, like for me, dude, when I get into Serum and I start working on like I didn't know that you didn't just run in a straight line the entire time for the MIDI. So I've just been sitting here like I've been like, why the fuck is the end of all my Serum like LFOs kind of like, what does he fuck up? Now I realize you like do the dotted notes, and then you like get to choose when it ends, and you can like, I'm starting to get better at the LFO rates, and on it, like I could like the difference between if I use my talk box though is kind of crazy. Like when I use my talk box, I'll be like, like I have a different way of approaching LFOs when I have this, but I find like as you said,
yeah, because your mouth is kind of the LFO in that case, right?
Exactly. But the trade-off with what I'm doing now is like when I use these racks, I don't have like consistent chaos.
Right.
And it reduces the amount of like texture that something has. So after a while, it does sound the same. And how I avoid a lot of that is like I have a throw on my foot. So like I'm always thinking about reverb tails when I'm performing. So like if I'm sitting here doing like like I'm able to like, I feel like the reverb tails fill that space. so
the
much.
reverb is essentially chaos, right? It's like a bunch of diffusion that just hits a bunch of delays and then puts them all out of phase and basically creates noise, essentially.
Yeah, and I feel like in a lot of looping setups, a lot of people use reverbs on their hand, you know, and I feel like it just like I am essentially always trying to create what sounds like a fully produced song as quickly as I can, you know.
Yeah,
and
it's a good goal.
I can show you, like, I don't know how technical I can get on your podcast, but I do have the ability to
everyone listening here is a producer. They will understand.
Okay, I mean, like, with my setup. Wait, is it not? Oh shit, it's not showing. Okay, never mind. I can't show you my setup. Darn.
Oh, all right, never mind. How many sounds do you generally have in a session? Like you said, you have a bunch of different palettes. Like, how many palettes do you have roughly?
Let me see if I can show you. I really would love to show you.
Share your screen or something, or what are you trying to do? All right, so we're back. Let me pop out your guy into full screen. All right, I see what's going on. So this is like hundreds of channels. Yeah,
so I think I currently have like 180 channels. Let's see.
How do you go on latency with this?
So everything is it's every step of the way is cleaned, you know. So
what do you mean cleaned? Like what is that?
It means that everything is active when it needs to be, and nothing is not active when it isn't.
Okay, gotcha. And turning things off obviously helps with the latency.
Yeah, so I have this here, for instance. This is do you know TouchOsk?
Yep.
So like I have it. So like.
I see.
This is on an exclusive grid switcher.
This is just on an iPad or something?
Yeah, so I bought like 4 M1 iPads, and I'm only using 3 of them right now. And I have different like preset. Like this is my instrument switcher. I have a track effects, and I have a mastering one, or like a master effects, but those 2 aren't finished all the way. This is like my baby. I have like MO distance from Elephant, and I use this for everything. So like if I wanted to add like texture and like really be able to fucking like just being able to like go left right is really big, and it gives space. How my looping setup is in terms of like my instruments is just I have everything on separate tracks here, and if one is chosen, like if let's
stinker
see,
time,
Rhodes, stinker time, stinky. If one is chosen, then everything else is turned off no matter what. And even if I turn this off, or if I turn this on, it feeds back straight back to it.
Nice.
So in terms of latency, I have everything. I have a 4 terabyte. So what I did is
a 4 terabyte hard drive, or but that shouldn't do anything with the latency, right?
It matters a lot because if you have it externally, your sample packs have latency. When they load.
You're just saying you keep all the samples on your local hard drive.
Everything is local.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so it's extremely quick, and you know, like I use Loopy Pro. I don't know if I'm allowed to show it, but I'll just do it. I have Loopy Pro, which is within Ableton. It's not meant to look like that. So how I have this set up is I have Loopy Pro.
What is
and then
this?
This is it's an iOS loop station.
Okay.
That's I don't think it's ported yet to Mac, but because I'm not at work with them, but because you know I'm in their Slack and I talk to them all the time. I get the ability to make Loopy Pro or like use it.
Who makes this?
God, what is his name? And Artsy Pixel, I think. A Tasty Pixel makes this.
Nice.
He's a really good developer. I think his name is Michael. And he makes this. So I use this on iOS for a long time, which is an iPad, and it's just like a fully modified. Like you can create whatever I can create new loops. I could do whatever I want. It's fully customizable. And how I've set this up within Ableton is I route, like I have like for instance, like I have a drum rack, right? And then my drum rack, this goes to this, and this is now a side chain. So if I went, if I took like a piano,
nice.
and it's all audio reactive because you can't trust a clock, if you know what I mean. And then this will have my voice on top of it. I'm actually going to do a separate eventually I'm gonna make it so there's a kick, a snare track, and then a percussion track for my voice. That's kind of my next goal. I was gonna work on that today, but yeah. So I have this all routed out to here, and you can see it's all color coded. So this is my initial like control of it, and then this is just the loop station itself, and I have it within Ableton, and then I route these all to buses. And that's how my setup works. I have buses, and the buses save me. Like I have like a limiter on my master drum rack and my bass bus, and then here I have, you know, for my the minute this it touches this, I have a Pro Q that has a low cut, and then SPL and a Voice of God from UAD, and then an Oxford inflator to create false loudness, and then this all goes directly like into a E-bus limiter, which is like it's like the most low latent limiter there is that creates like loudness immediately. And then I have like a bunch of dynamic EQs that, from what I've found, where I get distortion the most. Because what I'm doing is I'm throwing this into a loop station, then the loop station is its own track. So then I have to like perform over that loop station when I'm doing something live. So whatever I'm throwing into the loop station gets limited, compressed, sounds good immediately. But the biggest like issue is when you have a beat, a loop station, and you're trying to do like a bass over drums, that will create like, you know, the ability for it to distort. Because I'm not limiting my initial input, because I don't like to. I don't like to limit my initial input, because then you don't actually get to listen to how loud something is. You know, I like to like keep it loud while also having good RMS and like not actually clipping within Ableton. That's kind of my goal. It's like my setup is I try to mix it to where it gets to this point, and then it's at like -8 to 9 LUFS. And then, you know, every step of the way, like this gets sent out to a stream, and I have a Soli hit, which makes sure that like my kick and my bass is at -3 on this. He told me to do this. I'm like, all right, I'll listen to you. You're pretty smart.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, like at the end of everything, when all is said and done, your mix is going to equal 0 dBFS, right? And so if you put your kick in at 0 and your snare in at 0, and they both happen at the same time, then you're already well above 0 dBFS, and you can clip them together. But it definitely makes sense to turn them down a bit so that they both have, like, if they both combine at the same time, that they equal 0.
Yeah, the reason why I'm not afraid of showing all this is because I know that like the amount of work it took to find all these samples.
Yeah, no one's just going to go out and build this. This takes effort.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and I have so many different fail safes in order to like not consistently clip. And the problem with the iPad when I was using it is that the iPad is really not structured properly. You know, could you see my screen when I was showing that?
I could see it for a bit, and then you switched back to your
so I have a
camera.
Sorry about that. I have a failsafe for everything. Like I hear on my drums, I have a voice reactive where like I found that for some fucking reason against drums, this frequency was always like just clipping really hard.
Yeah, it is. It's always the mids that clip first.
Yeah, it's really trippy. So like when I do drums, I like to have voice percussion. It's like so I don't have any reverb tails on my kicks or my snares, but then my voice will have like and it just creates that, like, it gives me that space in the top end that I think makes drums sound good while also maintaining the bottom end. And I'm using like I use my like, because I'm a beatboxer, I could pitch and add layers with my mouse, like, you know, that sounds like a fully layered kick immediately because I'm pitching it, but this is what it sounds like without it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like a lot of beatboxing goes into my setup, and it's always thinking about how I can create the best layered sounds like immediately on the fly.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think like a lot of the time when I'm fucking around with layering, I'm trying to make the layers like constantly a little bit different so it has some life to it. But I guess you just kind of get that by default with this because you're obviously never going to do the exact same thing twice with your voice.
Yeah, and it's just, I like the live, like even in my music, when I make music now, it's like, people, I don't need to do a lot of this shit. Like I could just, that you fucking mix that. That sounds great,
Mm.
and it sounds unique and it sounds exactly like me, which I think is something like it's a type of sound that I'm really going to start focusing on as I continue to like produce music. But this is all, mixed properly. It goes into a main. My main goes out to my ears, and then I have a separate stream mix that goes out to you. I'm going to eventually make a queuing function within Loopy that allows me to like kind of make it so that my loop station, I can listen to it before you hear it,
Mm.
And then it all goes out into, I'm all UAD. UAD is the fucking king for live music, in my opinion. Just because, I mean, simply if you just want auto tune, like auto tune is having live, like non-latent auto tune is fucking crazy.
Mm.
But yeah, so everything goes into a limiter, a bus, an inflator, a limiter, and an equalizer before it reaches you, and that's what you're hearing.
Why do you
So-
put the EQ after the limiter?
It's just a Sheen EQ. So like in a live setting, I'm pulling out a lot of like high end towards the middle of my chain for everything,
Mm.
just because I don't like the mid, like the mids in a live setting kind of sounds, it's harsh, So for me, I don't know why it's not letting me go to the side, but it's just it's literally barely anything. It's just like it's just a smidge of top end, like add,
Right, but if you put it before the limiter, then it's not going to clip, right?
No, I mean, my limiter is sometimes it messes up, but my limiter is extremely soft as well.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
So it shouldn't clip, and I usually don't ever, like I clip into this obviously, but then having a little bit of like, I found that it just sounds nicer, I can't really, I don't know how to describe it. It just sounds good.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Nice.
I do think that maybe I could put it we'll see. I'll trust you. I believe.
I just whenever I'm limiting or clipping my main, the limiter or the clipper is always the last thing. Just because if you put an EQ after it, then you've kind of undone what the limiter has done for you, which is keep it at 0 dBFS, right? Because if you then go after and even cut on an EQ, often can clip things that are at 0 still, for reasons I don't fully understand, math reasons.
I love math.
But
yeah, I've just.
Sorry, go
on. Yeah, that's. I mean, my setup is really just a bunch of random shit that works, and I've spent years like doing YouTube and like just music online, and a lot of my learning has come from music request streams where anyone can donate money, and then I just listen to any song and I can play it now. So I've just like I've like practiced myself into having a really good collection of things that sound good live.
Yeah. Have you chatted with Beardy Man before?
Yeah,
I feel like
actually,
he's someone that you guys should share info. He's doing a similar thing, right?
Yeah, he's. I want to consider he's a friend of mine actually. I when I visited London last, I walked to his house for 5 miles with my ex-girlfriend, and like had dinner with him and his kids and his wife at his house. It was really cool.
Yeah, nice.
He's a sweet dude.
Yeah.
Very very intelligent person. He's the reason why I do what I do. Like fully, he's the reason why Honeycomb does what he does. He is. A lot of people think I was like influenced by Honeycomb. But I'm like, no, like, Honeycomb's my close friend and we both love Beardy Man. I started beatboxing because of a Beardy Man video. He made me realize that I didn't need all this gear to like start doing music. And I wanted to do music. Like when I was working, 60 hours a week and going to school, I was beatboxing every single step of the way just to like practice something. He taught me, like really beatboxing let me hold on to music when it would have otherwise like fallen through the cracks. And I think I owe him for that. And I owe him for like all of his looping stuff, even 15 years ago is astronomically better than anything anyone else is doing now, in my opinion.
Yeah. He's come up with some really clever systems for doing what he does. It's impressive.
Oh my gosh. He taught me a little, like I've learned here and there from him. And every time I talk to him, it's like when you like stumble upon like a old sage. like how I imagine if you were like in Naruto and you were like walking through a forest and like an old sage was like, here's this magic I have in the forest. And then he gives it to you and then like disappears into smoke. You're like, all right, for sure. Thanks. You know, and like he just randomly pops up in random times of your life. He's so fucking like, I really like him. He's really talented. I get, it's when people compare me to him, I'm like, no, because he's like how he's set up his sampling is just out of this fucking world, man. Like my sampling is so simple and I make it sound good because of the sound design around it. But his sampling is the root of everything that he does. And it's amazing like how he's been able to like maintain it for so long with such a honestly very difficult system to know how to use, you know?
Yeah, it's like a unique instrument that he's gotten really good at. How's the YouTube stuff? What's your day-to-day like with that kind of thing?
I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't care as much about YouTube as I used to. I think YouTube is one of those things where you throw like 50 hours into a video and it gets like 250K views and it's like, fuck, you know, I put all this work into something and I'm not really making money off it and I didn't get a sponsor on it. And like, I enjoy doing it. I just take my shorts now and transfer them into long form content. I mean, if you're asking like what my day to day looks like to make content, I don't record very often and I can go on and just because of the levity of how it sounds, like if you're just a random person, someone turns you into like an EDM song in 20 seconds, you're going to be like, what the fuck is happening? You know, like to like a 14-year-old kid that just like chilling on there, seen 20 dicks and then like had like a dude that was creepy try to riz them or some shit. All of a sudden, like a normal person doing something cool for them is like, this is fucking awesome. So it's just really good reactions all around. And I can go on there for an hour and get like a week's worth of content usually. So
how many dicks do you have to see before you get to,
oh my God, bro,
before you get to a good content person?
I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be. I do play it up. My first video on YouTube of Omegle is literally me singing for dicks. Like people who were jerking off, I was like, you know, like, when you're jerking off on Omegle, like just singing for them while they're jerking. And they'd be like, dude, sick. And then they would just next me and continue. And I was like, this is absurd. I put YouTubers' faces over the dicks, like my friends.
Nice.
Video has like 600,000 views and is still up. No idea how. But yeah, I mean, it's the hardest part of my job has now been streamlined into the easiest. So like now I have an editor that I've basically trained and I pay him a salary and I give him my stuff. He works on that. I have a video coming out. I sent it to your manager actually, where I'm kind of doing this idea at a festival. And that's kind of what I want to eventually lead this into is like activations at festivals. And not that I care about making money, but I don't like getting like, I don't want to get like $300 and some bottles of water to go play a festival.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like
yeah,
I want to be able to go and make,
like with what you're doing, you have to travel in with like so much gear. It's a lot of effort.
Yeah, and I'm going to be making content for them.
And also,
you know, like
right, and also you have like a big following already that of people that would probably come out to see you. Do you think that your following is the kind of following that could be converted into ticket sales for shows, or is it more like an online thing?
I think that I'm very lucky. Like I've been doing this for a long time, and whenever I do a show in real life, or whenever I like put on stuff for my friends in real life, I tend to do well. And I live in South Dakota, so my area is very tiny. And
in Bismarck? No, is that North Dakota? That's the only place I know.
That's North Dakota. Right. Yes. Like I just don't have, even when I do shows here, like people drive from 4 hours away. You know, so I have yet to see that. I think that a lot of people and like a lot of managers and a lot of people like that will look at what I'm doing and they're like, he's not going to convert. Like they want to like convince themselves how they can, like how much I need them in order to like put me in a spot where they can. I've experienced that a lot too, where I'm trying to get management, I'm trying to get people to help me, and they're like, oh, well, you're not in a position like you have the social media going, but we've put influencers on. You know, we've had influencers do shows, and they just don't do ticket sales. They don't have hard ticket sell data. They don't have this and that. I'm like, brother, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I'm not like a sweet potato influencer that like randomly decided to fucking do music. I've been doing music content and made my following off doing music content that's completely inherently based on my ability to play music. So like it's a different situation. I just don't have music, but when I put out music, it does well. When I do things, they do well. I can't answer that question directly. Like I don't know. But from what I'm seeing now, it's like, yeah, things are starting to go well. And people are like, I'm going to your LA show. I'm going to this show. I'm going to this. I put up a Lalo ad and I already have like 2,000 fans on Lalo. You know, I'm doing the things. And I think that if I continue doing them, people are going to want to be part of it. And the next part of that is like making live content, like making content at these shows. Hey, Red Bull, bring me out to Electric Forest and let's like put me on a Renegade stage where it's a silent disco and a huge tent. And when people come in, you know, they all have headphones on and I'm sampling people. And then we have a 360 camera and stereo filled audio so we can hear what everyone's saying and it's not going to be loud. And then we can like capture reactions of like ketamine heads at 3 a.m. being like, holy fucking shit, what is going on? You know, that's people like confirmation bias is such an interesting tool when it comes to music. You know, people are afraid to like something. People are afraid that if they like something, they're not going to fit in, et cetera, et cetera. I abuse that. Like I have not in a bad way, but I abuse the matter of fact that like, hey, if I sit there and I show that people enjoy what I'm doing, then people are going to be more comfortable being like, yeah, I fuck with it. Yeah, that's cool. You know, that person thinks it's cool. I relate to that person. Halo effect. Now that I think it's cool too. And that's kind of like what a lot of people do. And just a lot of music. Like you watch, if you watch like how fucking shows are recorded now, it's crazy. Because back in the day, it used to be all about the artist. Now it's so much more about the crowd.
Oh, 100%. I think electronic music is like mostly to do with the crowd. Like if you know, I do sound check for every show that I do and I play my tunes and show my video and like obviously check all the things I need to check at sound check. And it's way less cool than when there's hundreds of people there who are like into it and dancing. I think electronic music shows are more about like the overall experience more so than the emphasis on just one person playing music or anything else. I think it's this combination of like, you know, 10 or 20 things coming together to create this like super specific environment and vibe that people like to be in because it feels good.
Which is why creating an act that's able to like take someone and then turn them into a song and then maybe even like create them into the VJ and make like a truly interactive experience for the entire audience. I think that's like, that'll really, I hope will set me apart in a good way, you know? And that's kind of like my goal. Like I love people and I love doing what I do. And I love like making someone in a world that feels like it's constantly so capitalistic. I like, if I can monetize the matter of fact that I like to be genuine and I like to have these wholesome interactions with people and like bring and lift people up and like make one person be like, that was a fucking great experience and I was having a bad day and now I like have a good day. That's all that matters to me. And if I like, music is just a tool for that, you know? So if I could like create an entire show around that, I think I could do well. And I think, you know, tickets, it'll just be, I'm not worried. You know?
Yeah, I do kind of agree with what those managers were saying though. I've seen so many times like someone who's really big online does a lot of good numbers online but doesn't really sell tickets to shows. It is really like two separate worlds. I think there's many reasons for that. I think one reason is because if you have a big following online, often that following is like very globally spread out. Whereas if you've only played shows in like, you know, LA, Portland, Denver, like a couple of these big markets, and you have a ton of following from that, it means basically that your fan base is like very localized to those areas. And the other thing is that I think quite often on the internet, it's easy to confuse or like not confused, but it's easy to like say all this attention on this thing is equal to like a strong emotional resonance in such a way that these people are going to be driven to leave their house and come and pay whatever $30 to come and see a show, because not all likes are the same, right? It's like you can get like 10,000 likes on something if it's a meme, but like 9,999 of those likes are just somebody scrolling and being like, huh, and you know, clicking heart or whatever. And yeah, I think that is definitely a thing that I've experienced myself as well. Like I do, for instance, like better numbers than like Tipper on Spotify, and he doesn't even have social media at all, but like the difference in ticket sales there is insane. Like in Denver, I'd sell like, I don't know, 1,000 tickets. He plays Red Rocks like 2 nights in a row. It's ridiculous. There's a few other artists like that who are kind of small on the internet, but they just sell so many fucking tickets to shows. It's crazy. And vice versa. There's a lot of people who have like massive internet followings because, you know, they're like a kind of, they do memes and the kind of thing that social media seems to reward a lot of the time, but then don't do so well at shows. Yeah, I do think the only way to like know those to obviously do a bunch of shows and see like what the numbers are like. And it sucks that we have to even think about this shit, but I guess it's
I feel like for me, I'm in a weird position where I make enough money off doing the content that I'm doing and monetizing it that I don't want to go take my setup and do like a supporting act for like a mid-range DJ that is touring the Midwest, you know? And I have the ability to take shows selectively, and what I've been recommended, and I think it's a good idea, is just to take like festival shows and take shows that don't rely on ticket sales entirely. And in this, I might be sounding narcissistic and I might completely sound like I'm full of myself, and completely fair if like someone's viewing this feels like that. But in my perspective, I know that if I make good content out of the shows that I plan on doing and I'm selective with them, I think that I work really hard on making my live setup as good as possible. I just have like a strong self-belief that I don't need to worry. Like I will do well if I follow those rules, you know? And of course, like you can do better on social media and it doesn't transfer to other things. But I think in in a situation like yours or Tipper's, you know, like you have a lot of really pretty music. And when you're Tipper's age, and when you're like, Tipper's like 55, right? Like Tipper's like pretty old. He's like a older man. I think you're going to be in the same position. It's really just like he has 20, 15 years on you.
He's also way better than I am at music as well. So
yeah, but you're going to continue getting better. You know, it's just how
I don't know about that. I feel like I've kind of plateaued the last few years.
Who knows? Maybe there'll be something new that comes out that like pushes you in a different way of synthesis. Everyone's the best they are right now.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you're not going to be the best you are in 2 years. You know, you might look back at yourself in 2 years and be like, fuck, dude, I'm actually way better now. We are all like just constant self-improvement platforms, in my opinion. Even if we don't think we are, you know, you might get worse in life, but you get better at like fucking using 2 LFOs at the same time on Serum, and that completely changes your set. Like who
bro,
knows?
You know, like 1 LFO, 2 LFOs, bro.
2, 3 actually. But I completely agree with you in terms of like, I don't know how it's going to transfer, and it's hard. Like I think that what people watch me for is the interactions, and I think if I could digestibly create that as a thing that happens at shows and present it, I think that people are going to want to be part of it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a format that would be super entertaining to watch for sure. But I don't think that always converts into success. Like I've seen people before that I'm like, dude, this guy is so fucking good and really entertaining to watch, but then they just don't get successful for some reason or another. Is like a lot of it is luck based too, I want to say.
I would second that, but then also say, as someone who's been a YouTuber for 10 years successfully, it's luck meets opportunity, or like luck or like opportunity meets skill.
True.
If you if you're not setting yourself up to take advantage of luck when you get it, you're not, you know, like a lot of those people that, you know, I've known a lot of people who could have been great big DJs, big producers, but then they start like drinking all the time,
Mm.
and they start like fucking a bunch of random chicks that, you know, they shouldn't be fucking, and they start like getting deep into the scene of like they take advantage of their position as much as they possibly can, and they're not working on themselves or working on like getting better at the thing that's made them successful. And I think that if you continue doing that, like I love failure, low key. Like I love failing. I love having no fucking money and being sitting there and like, what am I gonna fucking do? Everything's fucked. I'm fucked. Like I love that feeling because then I get better.
Yeah, it drives
'Cause
you
then
to
I'm
like want to do shit. Yeah, I definitely find that as well. If I get like too comfortable in some way or another, like too financially comfortable or something, I'm definitely less prone to working my ass off than if I'm in a super uncomfortable position that I want to get out of.
yeah, and like I mean, dude, in November of like May of last year, I completely broke my setup. Like completely destroyed my setup by accident.
Oh shit!
And I had
How'd
to
that
like
happen?
I was trying to start building this like piece like Mac internally based setup. And I got this program called MIDI Pipe. And MIDI Pipe is a 2019 program that I didn't know was updated that it does what a Mio XL like iConnectivity rig does, which is like it's like a network MIDI that takes, you know, all of your MIDI devices, and instead of like Ableton taking control of a MIDI device and Loopy taking control of a MIDI device, it's like a layer on top that allows you to control all these different things with one MIDI device rather than these things taking control of the MIDI device.
Right.
So it completely fucked me over. I had that, and it was like it connected to all my MIDI devices, and it crashed. And then all the MIDI devices that were activated on MIDI Pipe were no longer accessible unless I wiped my computer because it ruined like a core audio component.
Oh jeez.
So you can't like fix that. You know, I tried. I brought it to people. I talked to professionals. I chat for days, and I broke my setup and I couldn't work. And I like in November I got invited to play TwitchCon and they paid me pretty well. And I like built my setup in that differential time, just grinding, trying to fix Loopy Pro, trying to fix, you know, my microphone setup for live use, trying to fix all these things. And it just ended up kind of like pushing me, and I had no money. I had like $1,000 in November, and I was like, all right, I've never tried short form. I've never tried to make short form content. I've always kind of just looked down on it because I think it's popcorn. I think people, exactly like you said, people look at a meme and you can be a huge meme page. People don't give a fuck about your existence. I was like, how can I make something that's impactful, that people are going to want to watch, that shows off my like broad range of ability to do different genres very well, and then make it all about my own music, because I'm tired of fucking playing covers. I'm tired of doing things of other people's. I'm tired of like people being like, oh, I love your Tosh Sultana cover. It's like, no, I want to do something that's entirely within myself. And dude, I feel like I sat there for 6 months, poor as hell, working on my setup, and I immediately started just getting to work. And I haven't missed a day of uploading since like December 10th.
Oh, dude.
I was at 57K on December 10th.
57K what?
On Instagram.
Oh, gotcha. And what are you at now?
Like 1,035,000.
Oh, geez. Yeah, it's a big jump.
Yeah.
And do you think that those are like super meaningful fans, or you think it's like kind of the meme fans? Because what you do is like sort of between, like it takes a lot of skill and it's like very artistic, but it's also kind of like a meme, right? It's like you're taking people and just remixing them on the fly.
I think it's both, and I think you can like I did YouTube I have meme fans that turned into like lifelong fans. You know, like you can convert anyone. Like look at like a lot of DJs who are funny,
right?
You know, and then even though you can play into a meme and still do well with it.
Yeah, like Dylan Francis or something like that.
Yeah, like, and I think I have that personality archetype where it's like. If I talk to a camera, I'm funny.
Yeah, totally. You know? Yeah, I wish I was more like that. I'm definitely more the sit in a studio by myself and just make shit on a computer type.
Everyone's pretty in their own way, right. You know?
I
do think that...
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. That's all you.
No, go on.
I don't know what I was going to say, honestly.
Okay. I was just going to say, like, if somebody studied your work like 50 years from now, what do you hope that they would sort of conclude from what you're doing?
I mean, I literally think I am a self-funded or I'm like a open source musician. Like I was a beatboxer and I was working full time and I went to school and I did all this stuff and I started streaming and I I've literally just had people who've supported me from day one that have allowed me to get better and better and better and better. I've done practice streams where I'm sitting there singing songs and I'm not even that good at, and people are giving me $25 per song and supporting me and buying merch and doing things. And I have this huge I've had this following outside of Instagram. Instagram is social credit. It's not monetization. You can monetize it, but Instagram is like a huge social credit.
Yeah, totally.
You have 1 million followers on Instagram, everyone knows you.
Right.
I went to a show in Denver and it's like I got recognized 14 times. My girlfriend counted and she was like, this is fucking crazy. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just a dude. I live in South Dakota. I have a dog. You know, it doesn't matter and I think just being trying to be genuine through it is what I'm going to fucking hold on to for dear life. But what I want them to look back at me as is like this guy who just kept trying and failed and tried and failed and tried and did everything he could to like, I want to be one of the greats. I want to be a beardy man. I want to be someone that makes really fucking good shit. I want to be someone that, you know, manages to like not be just a meme guy. Like I want to be funny and then also make shit that people want to listen to. And that's a hard thing. And I know that I might fail at it, but I'm going to try. And hopefully in 50 years, people look back and they're like, I want to be like Willie Nelson, bro. Just fucking,
it's a big
pumping.
ask.
Yeah. Just pumping shit out, like grinding. He'll make a reggae album. He'll do anything he wants. And something like that is cool. Like, I don't think I ever want to be one of those guys who, like, I don't want to be a purist. I want to be someone who like loves music and it loves it all and like creates good shit everywhere. Cause I've done that on YouTube. Like that's what I've always done. Like I've made videos on my YouTube is very weird. I've made videos in different categories of completely different realms and done well in most of them. And that's like a very unique, like most people have to stick to one thing and that's all they do ever. And I've always been good at like getting into things that I want to be in. And do like I'm like an ADHD master with like how I view success. Like I want to do things well everywhere that I want to do them, and that's what I hope people view me like that. Or they might be like, that guy fucking sucks.
Yeah, I think this is something that people fundamentally misunderstand about artists whose work looks effortless and kind of silly. Is that it just they're just like that and they just do it, but no, it takes a shitload of work.
Yeah, I'm 14 hours a day. I'm sitting in this room right now and like every step of the way, like I used to do like my song request streams, dude. I would sing for 14 hours, 16 hours straight till my voice bled, you know?
Damn.
And I make $6,000 in the comfort of my own studio. And that's like I had that before all this. So now that I have all this, I'm just excited to see where it can go and like what I want to make music with people. I want to like sing. I want to do cool shit and make meaningful shit. And you know, I kind of told you when you asked me like the short form and the Omegle is now the easiest part of my thing. The hardest stuff is now working on my live setup to be very good live and working on my entire like my system and working on my system of releasing music and collaborating with people and like starting to make good shit that I get respect from producers and I get respect from people that, you know, I know how a lot of producers might look at me right now. They'll look at me and be like, that's that meme guy. He does some cool, funny videos and some of his songs that he does on those videos are nice sometimes. But I want to like make shit that if I released it on Spotify or SoundCloud and no one knew me, it would still do well. That's my next goal.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I, as a producer, definitely don't look at you as like this meme guy. I look at it and understand like how much effort it takes to build a system like that. Like I've had Beardy Man on the podcast before as well, and I've looked into playing live electronic music a lot myself, and I understand it takes crazy amount of effort. But like I said at the start of the podcast, I think it that effort to build that like instrument is warranted if that's how you make the music in the first place. I think trying to port it in the other direction is kind of the mistake, at least in my experience it was. So you
Like trying to
go on.
force yourself to make it. What do you mean by port it in the other direction?
So I make all of my music in a computer, right? And I lament over these
Yeah.
decisions for like hours until I get it right in the perfect spot where I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm leaving it. And then I do that for like every bar of the song. Is like everything has to be like perfectly placed and perfectly like mixed and all of this shit. And to then just like stem it all out and break it into clips and just mash around and something that I never practice ever is like, why would I do that? It's like my strength is obviously in sitting here and like producing these really finely detailed pieces of music, to then just go and sort of like draw over that with a crayon for what? Like just so I can spin some knobs and press some buttons is like, makes no real sense to me. But if you were the way you're doing it, where like the way you make the music in the first place is by playing it, it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like we're both just dudes. Like we found our way of what we like doing, and that's everyone's different. Like I really want to get into your field more. Like I want to be able to take what I'm doing and like be able to change the flow. And by doing the things that you do, I understand more about how I can approach my setup and make it sound more full. You know?
Do you know why I don't have a MIDI keyboard? It's because I hate having my QWERTY keyboard be far away. That's the only reason.
So you know what I did? I'm also a woodworker. So I built this desk, and originally this desk had like a really shitty way. Like you would have your keyboard under you, and then like you'd have to have your stuff up here. And if you were playing keyboard, you'd have to like lean over to use your keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fucking hate that. So what I do now is I have my keyboard down here on a tray. And now I have a full, it's the size of my table. It's a huge tray, and I could use that. And then my keyboard's like my piano's in front of me, and I 3D printed it. So it's like directed towards me on my table. And I have like full, like perfect access to my keyboard, like ergonomically now.
Yeah, that's really the only reason I've never had one, is because every time I've tried to like get into having one on my desk to where it's easily accessible, because I mean I have like a Polybrute over there, but I'm not going to go over there, it's too far. So like every time I've like had the thing on here, I'm just like, man, I just don't have enough space in my keyboard. It's like in this weird little pocket, and I hate, like, I move my keyboard around a lot. Like I'll turn it this way and then this way, and then like it's all over my desk, like moving around in like a big area. And to not have that like movement around in that area to where I can just like push my keyboard around and move it depending on like what I'm doing is kind of.
I'll send you a picture of how I have my setup. And I think if you ever wanted to have a MIDI keyboard, like my setup, because I had the same issue. I hate it. Was so ineffective to have your MIDI keyboard like this, and then my keyboard above my MIDI keyboard.
It's like you have to reach out with your arms to type and shit is fucked.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's like if you're gonna produce music for like 10 hours, that's a no-go. You need to be comfortable.
Yeah, I'm the king of, like, I built this entire room. I did the AC. Like I hand built everything you see in here. It's just like, I really care about like I have a nice AC, like the one that doesn't have, like I have a ductless AC. I soundproof this, like it has metal. It's drywall, Owens Corning, metal, and then wood or plywood, then metal. So it's like, this shit ain't getting out, you know?
So you're more worried about like sound leakage out of the room, not so much like how the sound in the room is?
Not at all. It's more just like quality of how the room feels.
And totally,
how like it doesn't get cold.
100%. You have to, if you're producing a lot, you definitely need to have a space that you're super comfortable in.
Yeah, I actually looked into, I bought a Atom A8H is last night, because I'm using T7V. I'm using like really, really cheap speakers. Um, not that it's a bad thing. It's just like for me, I'm at a point now where I'm listening to speakers a lot, and it just hurts my ears. So I want to get something that I could like SonarWorks my room to.
Right.
And then I'm going to do what you have in here. I'm going to build like trapezoid. I'm going to go to my wood shop and build trapezoid Owens Corning bass traps for everything.
Is that what you went to school for, woodwork?
No, I went to school for marketing.
Oh, damn. Okay. Damn, you got like a renaissance man.
Yeah, I do a lot. I really like woodworking because when I was building my house, I just started buying tools, and then I got really into like I wanted to make these, you know, and I did a few hikes in Yosemite looking for pine cones, and then I realized these motherfuckers, there's like some secret that they're not telling us, like that you have to find like young sapling perfect pine cones to make pine cone art. So then I like said fuck that dream, had all these tools, and I started building. I found this old guy named Ron. And Ron, the homie, bro, he owns 7 farms and he loves his wife and he has a wood shop, and he had a bunch of walnut that he was like, yeah, you can take it for like $3 a board foot, which is a really good price. And I bought a bunch of walnut from him and just started building like bookshelves and desk and stuff like that. And I just got obsessed with it. You know, like before all this was happening, I was absolutely obsessed with woodworking. I would do like song request streams, and at the end, it would be like the biggest donator gets a cutting board.
Yeah, nice.
So I'd make like beautiful end grain cutting boards. And then I've never made something and not sold it.
Nice.
So I'm just obsessed with it. Like I think it's one of those things where I sit here and I fucking, I like do this thing that I don't know if it's beautiful or not. Like other people decide if my music is beautiful sometimes. I mean, I know it is when I really like it, but the thing about woodworking, it's like, it's hard to look at a well-made, 2-inch thick walnut desk that's perfectly stained and be like, that's ugly,
Yeah.
And you just like, if you ever have bought furniture now, it's all cheap. Everything's so cheap.
Yeah. Like IKEA snap together shit.
Even the nice stuff, you go and buy like you look at $5,000 couches, and it's the same thing, but has nicer like fabric, it's just, we're living in a world where nothing's built to last. So being able to build things to last is kind of a sick, I just made my friend a podcast table, like a podcast desk. That thing's invincible. That thing's going to last until we're both dead, That shit's Amish, low-key. I don't know if you know anything about like Amish woodworking, but those motherfuckers, they build crazy stuff. I don't know if you have Amish people in Australia.
I'm in Atlanta.
Oh,
yeah. I've been living in Atlanta for like the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay, well you have Amish people outside of there.
Yeah, probably. You don't see many of them around, but I'm sure they exist.
You ever see someone on a horse?
Yeah, I haven't really seen anyone on a horse around here.
One day.
Yeah. Is there a lot of Amish in South Dakota?
Yes, a lot of Hutterites actually, which are like Amish people, but a little more like they get to have phones, like flip phones. They're like 2000s electronics Amish people.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, this might be a good place to wrap it up on the Amish.
Okay.
So, well, yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It was interesting to chat about various things. And yeah, where should people go to find you and your stuff? Just Mr. Wobbles YouTube?
Yeah, Mr. Wobbles. If you search me up, I have a different handle everywhere because paraplegic cats. So if you just look up Mr. Wobbles, it'll be like me, a paraplegic cat, and then Ganja White Nights thing. Choose me if you can, please.
Yeah, nice.
Or Ganja White Nights thing too.
Yeah.
Or the cat if you care about the cat. Honestly, you could choose any 3.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't have any.
You can't go wrong with that choice.
Any of them. No.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks.
Well, thank you for having me, dude.
Yeah, of course.